Hello everyone, Paul ZRC coming to you from my garage in Texas. Today in front of me, I have the Black Horse MiG-29. It's been after 8 flights, and we will discuss final setup, center of gravity, and a few little issues that I found with the model that need attention. Please stick till the very end because the Maiden was amazing, and I want you to have great Maidens with this airplane. It flies amazing. Let's go. Okay, so the additional thing I recommend people do with this model is put some thermal protection between the turbine, what's going to be the split exhaust, and the outer skin. These distances there are very, very short. I put something you see there that actually has a little bit of a blanket. It's a material you can buy on Amazon. It's a like a 2 millimeter thick thermal blanket and foil. I also put that on top of the lid here, as you see, because this covers it and all the heat will accumulate there. That turbine, in my opinion, is too close to the skin there, and you do have heat shrink on the outside, and I didn't want that to all start bubbling up as the turbine is running, especially here in Texas, where it's a hot climate. So I wanted to talk about servos for the MiG. In the wings, both flap and ailerons, what's recommended is a servo that at least has 8 kilograms of torque. And it's only 15 millimeters thick, so you can't use a standard size servo. So what I found is the GDW servos that BananaHobby sells are perfect here. They're 8 kilograms. This is the DS390 MG. Metal gear, digital, soft start, and they're very reasonably priced and fit beautifully in here without any modifications. So I'll use the GDWs for all the control surfaces except the elevators. So they will fit in the rudder as well, and the 2 rudders. So anyway, good fit here. You can use others. I found out there's a Spectrum servo that could work, as well as I think Motion recommends a high tech. But that's the trick here. You need pretty high torque, but it's the mini size, not standard size. For the elevators, you need much more torque. This is a typical issue with MiG-29s. And so here's what I found. I bought 2 B2 45 kilograms of torque servos. These are full size and they fit here beautifully. They're metal. I bought these on Amazon. Very nice servos. I've seen on Motion a recommendation for MKS, but MKS I think is almost 3 times the price. These B2s, I've tested them. Very strong, digital, coreless, and fit beautifully here for the elevators, which need a lot more torque than the other control surfaces. Okay, let's look at our first wing. So this is the right wing. Notice the beautiful hidden control surfaces. So on the aileron, there is a ugly hole there that I had to modify, and I'll just get into the details of that in a second. However, flap completely hidden with an internal, I'll show here, maybe there's a hole there and an internal linkage, so that's nice. On the ailerons, I had to make some changes, just small cutouts, but for the aileron to reach its maximum, I had to cut that little slot there. The hole wasn't enough, and then on the other direction, it had I need to still cut a little bit in this cover, but as you see, I have to cut through here so that the push rod can make its way without the servo struggling too much. Okay, at neutral position, it's nice and quiet. All right, so here is the plane powered up. This is my configuration, and this is how she CG'd really well. I have my batteries, all three of them, turbine and the two avionics batteries here up on this tray. Nothing, no weight in the nose, and just my receiver here and my HSD Jets avionics controller. Fuel tanks, engine, all this, and this is how the plane CG'd really well. You will notice in a moment how I CG'd it using the factory hangers that come here. You can install in front of the wing. Okay, so initial CG tests. The manual says that you should balance the plane empty. I don't do that. I like to balance my jets in what I call landing configuration. So I filled up the UAT with fuel. I have fuel in the tanks up to this floor level here. And wheels down, of course. And you'll see my three batteries, two for the avionics, one for the turbine. So this is kind of as close as it will get. And let's see where the CG is. So here we go. Cockpit in place, all the covers. I like this nifty system. So again, manual says level with a plane empty. My CG is just a tad nose up. And I like it this way. The MiG is a delta wing. It should really position in on landing for a nice angle of attack. We'll see. But again, landing configuration. Tanks with a little fuel, UAT, and you saw the batteries. If I want to add or move the CG forward after the Maiden, I can still move the turbine battery or move the batteries closer to the nose. I'm going to Maiden it like this, and let's see what happens. If it's too tail heavy, we'll go from there. But that's the plan. We'll see. Okay, so let's start with elevators. Notice for level flight, this is how I have them trimmed. It's about, from this shape here, it's about 5 millimeters down. And I found that perfect. Flies very well level like this at half throttle. Okay, now let's look at flaps. Half flaps. So let's see, half flaps, I ended up with about 30 millimeters. And landing flaps at 50. Also notice at landing flaps, there is an additional deflection of elevator to a total of 10 millimeters, so additional 5. With that trim, the plane comes in really nice, nose up about 10, 12 degrees, just like a real MiG should, and the landings are beautiful. So so my flap elevator mix is like that. There's nothing on half flaps and an additional 5 millimeters there. Okay, let's look at ailerons. So ailerons. I am flying with 35. And I'll tell you, the plane's roll rate is pretty slow, even at full aileron deflection. So I added tailerons here. They're about 10% of the aileron deflection. So if you see here, left aileron up, and I have tailerons here. And so my gyro controls both of these. The plane rolls really nice and axially with tailerons. So I really recommend setting up tailerons. Let's look at elevator travel. It's quite a bit. Elevator travel, I'm measuring it here, and it's way past my scale. So it's over 50. It's not, it could go a little further, it doesn't have to. On the way down, it's a little less, so let's say about 60 millimeter. But I wouldn't worry too much. I don't think I've used full elevator yet. but I've done dives from high altitude. The plane recovers very well. I do recommend you have at least 40 kilogram torque servos on the elevator. The MiGs are notorious for needing a lot of pressure on the elevator to recover from dives. So that's the setup. Let's now talk about issues. So as you'll notice here, I have only one screw and the turbine is disconnected. I had to remove the pipe. So I have seen already two people where the pipe, the thrust pipe, the turbine pipe has failed. It's not designed very well, and that is because the split, where the pipe splits, is not cooled. The cooling begins after the split. I think that's a design flaw. Anyway, the split burns up and people have lost the airplane. I am going to film what I will select. I have a pipe on order, and once I install it, I'll let you all know what it is, but that's a major issue. I have 8 flights on this pipe, and it's holding, but it's an issue. I don't want to fly it anymore till I fix it. The other problem where the main gear, I'm not going to retract it now, but the Black Horse electric brakes were terrible. They could barely hold the plane at idle when the turbine was idling. So I replaced them with 75 millimeter JP Hobby wheels, 75 by 25. They fit perfectly, and now I have really good brakes. So that all worked well. Overall, I'm very happy with the setup. The plane, like I said, flies very well, but it has those two issues. The thrust pipe, I don't trust it, and the gear. I also don't like the gear design in general. It's very strong, but it's from a sports jet. Black Horse could have invested a little bit in making it look more scale. I'm going to make changes to that. So there'll be a video coming up on what thrust pipe to replace this in this plane, and how to make mods to the gears from which parts to make them look a lot more scale. Other than that, highly recommended, an amazing plane for its price. And the next is the Maiden.
Go around. Looking good. Brakes on!